Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and to the first episode of what I hope will be a long series. This game is called Battle Brothers. It is a tactical turn-based RPG in which the premise is you are leading a mercenary company in this world, going town to town, completing contracts, killing stuff, gearing up, and just having a jolly good time. Today, August 13th, a new DLC for the game came out called Blazing Deserts. So I thought, why not start a series for this game and really delve into not only the old features of the game, but see what's new with Blazing Deserts. So, that being said, let's get right into it. We're going to start a new campaign, and there's a bunch of different origins we can pick from. Blazing Deserts adds 3 new origins, one of them being the Southern Mercenaries, the Manhunters, and the Gladiators. Each origin comes with their own special perks and... I'm going to say pros and cons. So these two are just really standard, nothing but, for instance, the Peasant Militia. Start with a roster of 12 poorly equipped peasants, take up to 16 men as opposed to the normal 12, and you can have up to 25 instead of the normal 20. But they can never hire anyone that isn't a low-born peasant. And then let's say we go to the Beast Slayers. Beast Slayers start with 3 Beast Slayers, da-da-da-da-da. They get to see tracks from further away, which is something we'll see once I start playing. They get a increased chance of getting trophies from beasts, but people don't really trust them, so you get worse prices. So each one, like I said, has their own pros and cons. For this series, or at least the start of this series, I will be playing with the gladiator scenario, or origin, excuse me, which, as I also just mentioned, is new with Blazing Desert. Each one also has a difficulty ranking. So this one's 3, this one's 2, this one's 1. So, the Gladiators. You fought in the arenas of the South for years, first for your freedom, then for crowns, and finally to become immortal. What else does fate have in stock for you? Gladiators. Start with 3 experienced gladiators with good equipment but very high daily wages. I'll explain what that is once I actually load in. Each gladiator has a unique trait in combat, Legends of the Arena, and a Glorious 3. You can never have more than 12 men in your roster, and if all of your 3 starting men should die, your campaign ends. Okay. This should be very interesting. Alright, next, we can name our company. We'll just say we're... No, I'm just going to be the Battle Brothers. Sometimes I'm really lazy and I can't think of anything better, so I'm just going to keep it simple. And here we can pick our company's banner. There's a whole bunch of them, but in keeping with the theme of the DLC, I think I'm going to do with one of the newer ones. Now, which one do I like? Sure, let's go with this one. It's very decorative and it looks cool. Next, we need to choose our late game crisis. Once it gets closer to that, I will definitely explain more, but a new one with the DLC is Holy War, so we're going to choose this one. And then, I'm not going to play with permanent destruction because personally I'm not a really big fan of it. It just means that, as you can see, cities, towns, and castles can be permanently destroyed during a late game crisis. And having everything be destroyed is a way to lose the campaign. But there are much easier ways to lose the campaign, so I'm just going to focus on doing those instead. Okay, so we're going to leave this in next. So we have economic difficulty, which just changes payout for contracts and how much resources we can carry. There's beginner, veteran, expert. I'm going to play on veteran because I played this game a lot, but I'm still not comfortable playing on expert myself. Next is combat. We'll do veteran again, and starting funds is medium, which is, I'd say, the veteran equivalent. Normally, I don't play Iron Man, and I probably won't play Iron Man for the sake of this. Because this just means you only save as you exit and like load into the game. And I have a feeling I'm going to be dying a lot and needing to save more often than that. So, no Iron Man, I'm just going to keep the standard map seed. We can change this to be whatever. And that will determine city spawns, our starting brothers, and a whole lot of other things. And unexplored map, which is something new in the DLC. This just means the entire world will be covered, and it's something we need to explore. And I think I will be doing this because I've been playing with a mod that's done that for my past several saves, and I think it's much more fun as opposed to knowing where every single town is right from the get-go, or having at least most of the map explored. Alright. 5 minutes in, actually more like 6, and we are about to start our new campaign. So, let's get in. Game has very, very nice art, and you also get to see a nice range of enemies. Got some undead here, an orc, a goblin, humans. Okay, here we go. So I will be reading all of this text. It's gonna take a while. I'll try to do through it pretty quickly. So, here we go. The gladiators. It should be a simple matter, killing a man, but unfamiliarity toughens the flesh. Murderers caught in the street, choking away, arms tensed, hands clenched, screaming why won't their victims die. The motherly estate comes undone, hitting her husband with the fire iron again and again. And yet he still draws breath long after the flames have died. A bored vizier, unsure of why his torturers struggle with a criminal, the maddened man mocking them as they cut away appendages most important. But to a gladiator, a man is not just a man, he is a wielder of weapons. Swords, axes, spears, tridents, and more. Once you are past all these manifested defenses, he is mere flesh most familiar, and to dispatch him is not a matter of struggle, but of entertainment. Entertainment. Competition with every ounce of skin in the game, and the revelry of the crowds. These are things you love. Let the philosophers wax on and off about the nature of how things come to live and die. When you plunge a sword into some fool's neck, not only does blood gush upon your blade, but the crowd gushes upon your accomplishment. It is the most wonderful sound in the world. And the women who come after, so hot and bothered they don't even wait for you to clean the entrails off before jumping your bones. Glorious. But it gets boring too. How many fights has it been? You can't count. How many challenges? You can't even name a single one. Not a single one. Hamdun the lion, Uthman the bear, and Abani the viper all agree. You're just too good. And they're pretty good too. If you're being honest, all 4 of you agree, though. You shall depart the arenas and forge a champion spirit across the whole world. Sorry. The gladiators have some proclivities for the opulent, particularly for the scented baths and jewelry that spells their names. So be prepared to pay a tidy sum for each as you finance their lavish lifestyles outside the comfort of the city-states. And so it will be. You are 3 solid, but not all-time great fighting buddies, will display their martial prowess, and you will be matched with a new challenge, learning how to manage warriors who are not at your level and their needs. Should be easy. Okay. So, here we go. It's quite a lot to explore, so yeah, if I didn't choose an unexplored map, this would all be uncovered. But I chose unexplored, so yeah, here's what we're working with. So a quick rundown, the game's paused, so top left is your resources. You got crowns, which is how you pay your people, buy equipment, food, you name it. Speaking of food, you got your provisions. So as you can see, this just gives you a quick little rundown up top, and then below it says you use 6 provisions per day. Your 50 provisions will last you for 8 more days at most. Keep in mind that individual provisions will turn bad. We'll explain that, or show that a little more in depth in a second. Then we got tools and supplies. This will be used to repair armor and weapons out of combat, because they will take durability damage in combat. Ammunition will be to resupply arrows, bolts, throwing weapons outside of combat, and then medical supplies will be used to treat injuries outside of combat. Once again, now injuries are something you can get in combat and through events, and I'm sure we will come across them fine. Moving over to the right side is the roster, which I will show in a second after I quickly go over everything else. Center camera, that's pretty simple, that's just centering on my guys. Lock cameras, just locks it on the party. This just shows the prints of other wandering groups. Tent, this just will make the repairing of tools, or repairing of armor and weapons quicker, as well as recovering. It's good for restoring HP and dealing with injuries. The retinue, which is something new with Blazing Deserts, is something I will look into once I have more of it unlocked. Next is the obituary. Here's where we will see all of the brothers who have died, name, days, battles. It just gives you nice little information about them. And lastly is factions and relations. So as you can see, there are 6 things that we currently can have relations with. There are 3 noble houses in the north and 3 city-states in the south. Each noble house has a certain amount of settlements under its control, and as we come across them, their names will show up here, and we will be able to build relationships with them. So we also have our renown. Currently we are unknown at 100, and as you get more renown, you unlock more contracts, better contracts, and yeah, you're just more renowned throughout the world, obviously. And then you have reputation. This is determined by the kind of actions you take during events and such. Okay. Yeah, I know I'm throwing a lot of info out right now, but I just want to get this all out of the way in the first episode, so when I inevitably have to restart, there's no need to explain it over and over again. Alright. Next is the roster. Here we get to see our inventory. I currently have 90 slots. This is everything we're carrying. And these are provisions here. So we have dried lamb, which will spoil in 13 days, and we have some wine, which will spoil in 14 days, assuming they aren't already used up before. And as you can see, we have our 3 gladiators right here: Hamdan, Uthman, and Abani. You can see that they got armor, a chest piece, they have an accessory slot, they can equip arrows, and they also have 2 back slots. Hamdan is currently equipped with a scimitar and a net, which gives him these 3 abilities: slash, gash, throw a net, but if I wanted to, I can take this off, or I could also give him a shield. Here you can see all their stats. Health, action points is something you'll see in combat. Fatigue determines... Oh, actually, I'll explain this more in combat, obviously. Morale, resolve, initiative, melee skill, range skill, melee defense, range defense, and then damage and effectiveness against armor are determined by weapon, as you can see. So I'll give a quick rundown just to explain a little bit more. The scimitar is a sword. It is considered one-handed, which means you can wield it obviously in one hand, or you can do like this without the net, which I just showed a moment ago, or dual grip, which gives you more damage, which you can see is changed down here. Okay, the sword, or the scimitar, has 48 durability, a damage of 40 to 45, 20% can ignore armor, and 70% effective against armor, and it takes fatigue. 6 fatigue, so yes. Each piece of equipment with the exception of accessories and arrows, and some consumables. Oh no. Actually, maybe some consumables. All have a fatigue value, so if I quickly de-equip this, you can see he has 96 fatigue without his equipment, but we put it back on, 69. So that's something you need to manage. Now, if you probably noticed by now, they all have these little arrows pointing up with them, and a click here to level up. So as you fight, obviously your brothers get more and more experience, and as they get the experience, they level up, which gives the opportunity to increase their stats. You always get to pick 3 stats per level, but you'll always want to prioritize the stats that have stars because they will always have higher values per level up. And I will level these guys up after I look through the perks. So for each level up to level 11, your character gets a perk. You can choose any perk that is currently not locked. But you need a perk in the prior level to unlock. So if I want to get a perk here, I need a perk here. If I want a perk here, here. You get the point, all the way until down here. But if I pick, let's say, student, doesn't mean I can pick any other perk I want here. You just need a perk in this level to unlock the next level below. Okay. A little more, and then we can actually start the playing. So, each character also comes with a background. As we can see, we have 3 gladiators, because we start with the gladiators. And they also have the chance to come with some character traits. So, Hamden has the arena fighter trait. I'm not going to read each one, because it's just a little much. But the arena fighter gives him +5 to resolve, which is really, really nice, and this is just always in effect. His next trait is Glorious Resolve, and this allows him to re-roll every failed morale check for a second chance, and that's something we'll see a lot more in combat. Lastly, he has Brave, so he gets another 5 resolve. So from traits alone, he already gets 10 to his resolve. He normally would have 36 without these two. So you can see that traits will play a very important role. And let's see. Uthman the Bear. He's also an arena fighter, and he has a Glorious Endurance actually. Gain 5% damage reduction with every hit taken up to a limit of 25. That's really, really good. We'll see that in combat like most things. And then we have Optimist. +5 resolve at positive morale checks, and bad mood fades away faster. Oh, I forgot to look this on Hamden. But each brother will also have a happiness level ranging from 0 to 100. This will determine their morale at the beginning of combat, and can also determine whether or not a brother will decide to abandon the company or stay. Because if the mood gets too bad, they're gonna leave. So you do need to watch this. There are plenty of ways of changing a character's mood though, and as we come across them, I will delve into them. Okay, and let's look at Abani. So, he has Arena Fighter as well. He has Glorious Quickness. Upon killing an enemy on their turn, this character immediately regains 1 action point. So that's really, really nice too. Action points. You always have 9 action points per turn. Each moving, using skills use action points, and we'll see that more in combat obviously. And let's see, he also has Pessimist, so he's actually the complete opposite of Uthman. He gets -5 resolve at negative morale checks, and his good mood fades away faster. But at the same time he's also tough, so he gets +10 to his HP. Now I'm sure you all noticed, but they also have different weapons. He has a mace, and each weapon plays different roles. So this does 35 to 50 damage, 40% of damage ignores armor, but this has 120% effectiveness against armor. Also has different skills, so you'll see that he has Bash and Knockout instead of Slash and Gash. And with a shield and not a net, Uthman has two new skills, instead, or two different skills rather, which is Knockback and Shield Wall, which I will explain more in combat. And finally, Abani has a dagger. Alright, that was a lot of information out there, but I think it's finally time that I can start playing. So we're going to do some level ups here, and the most important stats for a frontliner, like Hamden, will be melee attack, fatigue, and melee defense. Now, just because something has stars in it, that doesn't necessarily mean it will be the best thing to level up sometimes. Obviously, it depends on what kind of character build you want to do. But I'm going to do some melee skill, some fatigue, and a bit of resolve here, instead of giving him melee defense, because he has a shield, and the shield adds 18. And his resolve was a bit low. I want to try to get everybody to 50 resolve minimum. He's at 46, so he'll need maybe about a level. Next, Abani the Viper. Yeah, initiative really isn't super important in my opinion, so it sort of sucks that he has 3 stars in there. But what we're going to do is going to give him a level in melee attack, fatigue, and some melee defense. And we're going to skip 1 level fatigue and give him that resolve to hit that 50 threshold. And I forgot to give Uthman his second level up. I'm actually going to give him health, fatigue, and melee attack. Now it is time to decide on perks for everybody. I'm a fan of always giving my frontliners Colossus, which will increase HP by 25%. So we'll see for Hamden, 52 up to 65, 59 up to 73, 67 up to 83. And they still each have 1 more perk to give, or to use. And I'm going to do the gifted perk, which will allow me to give them all 1 more level up worth of stats without actually leveling up. And the best part is, it is at max possible rolls. And what I mean by that is, each time you level up, you're not guaranteed to get the same values for skills. So I could maybe get like 4 the next time, or I could get 3 again. So I think it's at max rolls. Yeah, this character's attributes with maximum rolls. Yeah, so it's really, really good. Okay, so we're 22 minutes in, and I really haven't gone too much done. Oh, one last thing. As you can see, Hamden needs to be paid 61 crowns daily. 61 crowns across the board, meaning I have to pay out 183 crowns a day for my battle brothers, or for my brothers right now. You pay everybody around midday, so once this hits noon, we'll see this decrease by 183. With that out of the way, it is time to step into the city-state of Kabira, which, as we can see on the world map, is very, very beautiful looking. It has an incense dryer, a militia barracks, goat pens, another incense dryer, and a stone watchtower. So each settlement on the map will have some buildings attached to it. In this case, we have a militia, 2 incense dryers, and goat pens. Depending on what building it is, will determine some stuff inside the town. For instance, a militia barracks is a large compound of militia barracks. This camp will turn ordinary peasants into somewhat able soldiers that can defend their home and their loved ones. So they're going to have a bit of a stronger garrison as opposed to a settlement that might not have this. They also have the incense dryer. Tree sap is gathered from the surrounding trees and dried into the sun to create valuable incense, which I will show hopefully right now. So, let's enter the large and rich city-state of Kibara. And here we go. This is what it looks like to be inside a city-state. Settlements will, depending on their size, will range in the amount of buildings they have in here. But each town will always have a market as well as men to hire. Well, that's not necessarily true. There might sometimes be situations which will affect the amount of recruits for hire, but as we come across that, I will delve into it. So, Kibara, however, it's pronounced, let's see, they have an arena, an alchemist, a temple, a weaponsmith as their unique building. So, in a temple we can treat injuries that would normally take medical supplies. They still will need medical supplies if treated, it just takes a lot less time and you don't run the risk of the wound getting infected and some other bad stuff. An alchemist, new with Blazing Deserts, is where you can buy potions as well as a bunch of different types of bombs and even some firearms. Obviously I don't have the money to buy any of this stuff and it doesn't really serve me a purpose yet. The arena is somewhere we can fight for money. I'll get into that later because I don't want to do that yet. Weaponsmith is pretty self-explanatory. We can buy different weapons here. You can see there's a nice variety. And yeah. Next is hire, and this is where we can recruit more battle brothers to join the cause. Each will have different hiring costs as well as different daily wages, as you can see. So for instance, Wasi ibn Mansur is an indebted. He doesn't have a daily upkeep, but they are limited to being level 7. These are new to Blazing Desert. And then you have Waldemar, who is a sellsword. Very expensive, high daily wage, but he's also very good. And then you can see just a bunch of other people. For instance, like Jaquaba the Waylayer, who's a nomad. But with our 3 brothers, our 3 gladiators, I don't really think I'll need to recruit anybody for the meantime. So, now it's time to look at contracts, a way of making money. This will always pop up before, just to give you a bit of background. And this is one of the council members of the city-states. Ubaid al-Qasim, the Grand Vizier, sighs as you enter his room. Ah, a crownling. I'd almost forgotten I had requested your sword to come ruin my day. You stare at the Vizier's. He is far too belabored to extradite himself from a sea of cushions and a harem of women who are there to fluff each and every one. Well, I suppose I shall sully an hour if only to get this matter settled. Nomads are ravaging my caravans, and they are... as they are wont to do. And here at my markets are deprived of certain goods which I wish to have. I offer 370 crowns to find and destroy these sand-ridden mites. So we can either choose to make this problem disappear or decline because we have more important matters to settle. Obviously we don't have more important matters, so I can make this problem disappear. He nods. Yes, good. I was thinking about payment for your task earlier. You'll get 370 crowns when the contract is done. Now here, we get 4 options, as you can see. We can accept at the base 370. I can ask to be paid more, but at the risk of upsetting them and potentially losing the contract completely. I can ask for some payment in advance if I wanted to, or I can just say whatever, it's not worth it. Since we're a bunch of nobodies, I don't think anybody's going to be paying us more, so I will accept at the base of 370 crowns. The contract you negotiated is as follows. Do you agree to the terms? Drive off the nomads at the remnants of the empire south of Kibara, and that's our objective, and payment 370 crowns. Okay, I can finally accept the contract, and I'll have to finish it before I take another one, or I can decide to abandon it. I can do this, and you'll see I'll have a little more time to think if I just need to wait a bit. or change my mind. And they give us one more time to just say, no thank you. We'll obviously accept this contract. And with that, I can't accept any other contracts for now. And not just from this town or settlement, but from any settlement anywhere. If I want, I could cancel it, but that will make them upset with me, and it's not a very good idea. So as you can see, our objective is right here, the remnants of the Empire. These ancient ruins cast their shadows far over the surrounding sands. It's an unknown garrison, and this location is on the desert, or in the desert. So, depending on the terrain, some things will be affected. And these are the tracks I spoke about earlier. This just shows you where it's walking, and different tracks will be indicative of different monster types. So footprints is usually humans. If you see like paw prints, that means it's a beast. And then if you see footprints that look humanoid but are not, that can either be undead or orcs, or greenskins as they're called in this game. But I don't think we'll be running across those anytime soon, so let's just focus on the humans. So prepare for combat. You get a little preview of the terrain, and you can't make out who you'll be facing. Attack at your own peril, and be prepared to retreat if need be. We're gonna engage. Okay, so here is the combat, or the battlefield. Right here is going to give you a bunch of information as you go. And now you can see, so we have 9 action points, 0 out of 84 fatigue. We are currently at steady morale, and full health and full durability. So as you'll now see, sand, it costs 2 action points and 6 fatigue to traverse. So action points went down, fatigue builds up. As long as you have fatigue, you can complete actions, but once you hit your limit, you won't be able to do anything. So you need to really manage your fatigue, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to do anything. Okay, while we're letting them go, this is just center camera. This is to change terrain level, because if you're fighting on like mountains or on hills, the terrain will obviously adapt to that. You can show trees, but there are no trees in the desert. This is something new. This is just to show immovable tiles. This is to hide all the information. And this is to retreat. Something I don't think I'll need to be doing. Up at the top center, you can see it is 3 our guys versus 5 of them. And there has been 2 rounds of combat. Okay, so as you saw, you can either wait, like in here, this is something similar to Heroes. Wait is just, will move you to the end of the turn order, obviously based off initial speed. You can just end your turn and not do anything completely, which I would say is like defending, but it does not give you any bonuses to defense. It will just recover some fatigue for you. Alright. So it's going to be a bit slow in the beginning, and especially with the new features on the new feature with Blazing Desert, which is actually adding more environmental aspects to the combat field, so you can see that they're just playing behind this wall, being very cautious. And since you can see, since we attacked a nomad encampment, there's some of their stuff here. Oh, there's a tree. Yeah, so this is what hiding. It just makes them transparent. I just want to surround this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my net at him. I'm going to move down. You can try to break free if he wants, but if he doesn't, I have an ability that is unique to this dagger called Death Blow, which inflicts 33% more damage against... Oh, excuse me. I can't speak. Inflicts 33% more damage against and ignores an additional 20% armor of targets that have dazed, stun, or trapped in net status effects. So because he is still trapped in a net, I'll be able to benefit from that assuming I hit. Now, he put up a shield wall, which gives him a nice bonus to his defenses, but I have a 66% chance to hit him with knockout, and if I do, I didn't stun him, but it did destroy his armor. I have a 67% chance, let's see. Yeah. So you can see I had a 67% chance. I rolled a 66, so I just barely made it, but we hit his body for 47, and he suffered a temporary injury, which is a pierced arm muscle. Now, let's say one of my brothers got this. Their stats will be affected appropriately. I don't remember what our pierced arm muscle does off the top of my head. I think it reduces melee skill. But that is something that you would need medical supplies to treat, or visit the temple to get treated. So I'm not really gonna put too much focus on him because these two are here. I need to focus on these guys. So I think what I'm gonna try doing, 77, 77. I missed. I missed both my hits. There we go. And I got an achievement, Assassin. Cool. And we saw he got +1 action points because of his trait. So we'll move up here. Nice. So another possible temporary injury, as we can see, is the bruised leg. And each one, like I said, will do different stuff. This nomad was really mean and threw some dirt, or sand actually in this case, at Uthman, which gave him the distracted status effect, which I will quickly just show. Here we go. Minus 35 damage, 35% damage, and initiative. So it's really, really annoying. Huge. But it doesn't matter because Hamdun came at clutch and killed him. And if you see here, Hamdun is now confident, while these two are wavering. As I mentioned, morale does affect your stats, so let's see. Somebody who is confident morale gets +10 to melee skill, range, so basically +10 to their chances to their hit skills and to their defense skills. Their attack skills and defense skills, that's what I should say. As opposed to somebody who's steady, which doesn't show. If they're wavering, like these guys are, now he's breaking, then their stats are decreased by a lot. Morale checks can be triggered by people, like surrounding them, like just what happened, or from taking damage. And those kind of morale checks are where the pessimist and optimist skill or trait come in handy. And since he's not under any of those special status effects, there's really no need to waste to use the death blow. And as we can see, somebody who is wavering loses 10% to their attack and defense, as well as to resolve. So you always want to try to keep them at steady or above, because wow, I was not expecting him to one-shot there. Because obviously those decreases to stats are not good. And the last morale threshold is fleeing, at which you have no control of the brother and they just try to run away as far away as they can. Which is what he has, fleeing. But we're not going to see that because at one point, if you basically dominated, you have the option to just end it I could choose to run him down, but there's really no need to, so it is over. Okay, victory. The enemy retreated after 9 rounds. Here we get to see how many kills each brother participated in, their damage, how much experience, and the damage they dealt, the damage they took. So we can see 92 to hit points, 45 to armor. They took 7 hit points worth of damage and 60 points worth of armor. Easy enough. And after that is loot. So because this is a camp, they have some stuff stashed in here. So we get some nice food, some money, some tools and supplies, some ammunition, and some weapons and armor. With that all said and done, it is time to head back to Kabara and get our 370 crowns. Look at the birds over here. On your return, I don't know why I can't read for some reason. As you approach, you bade Al-Qasim the Grand Vizier's room. A woman claps, from across the lobby. You look over and she's already far too close. 4 birds perch upon her shoulders and they sway with her every step. Crownling. She produces a satchel and hands it over. You bade Al-Qasim the Grand Vizier need not smell you once more. This far into his home is sufficient. Count it if you wish to insult us, leave if you wish to please us. I'm assuming that's supposed to be please us. That might just be a typo. She turns on her heels and walks away. Her otherworldly dress flowing side to side. One of the bird rotates on her shoulder and squawks at you. You gain 370 crowns? Well, we got paid. Yes, we did. And just like that, our first contract is complete. An extra 370 crowns in our pocket. Now, we could consider maybe getting another brother, but I still don't think we'll need to. So what I think I'll do is take a look in the marketplace. This is where we will be able to resupply on ammo, tool supply, medicine, as well as food, and purchase trade goods, such as the incense that I mentioned earlier. So as you can see, this is worth 380 crowns, which is already more than what I just made, but I have to buy it at 470. A nice new feature that they added with Blazing Deserts is the further a good travels, the more valuable it becomes. So, how far south am I? Oop. This is actually the retinue. I meant to pause it, but I guess they changed the hotkey. So we got a donkey, and we can buy a cart for 5,000 to expand our inventory. And yeah, currently these are all locked because I don't have enough renown. But once I get to 250, I can unlock my first member. And once I do that, I will delve more into this. Space is pause, not P. Sorry, I'm getting this game and Caesar confused. Okay, so let's see what this other contract is. Ubaid al-Sa'id, the master astrologer, is standing over a map so enormous that it can't fit on any table, but instead parceled out and spread across the marbled floor. It seems unnecessary, as a map could easily be contained in proper resolution, but you keep this observation to yourself. The vizier walks over the paper and points at a location. Beasts have set upon this part of the realm and are seeing to its destruction in a manner that I have not agreed to. I have more important matters to attend to there. He points to another area of the map, which just looks like a bunch of empty desert. He continues, so I need a man such as yourself, Crownling, to see these roaming monsters, particular to your success. You will be rewarded 370 crowns, which should be more than suitable. Let's talk more about payment. As we see, 370 again. I'm not going to try to haggle with them just yet. Let's accept it. And now we need to hunt down what terrorizes Kabara. Sure. Well, so that's just a NPC roaming group of soldiers, probably belonging to the city-state, who will protect it. Just want to show them off a bit, but they're getting a little too far. But as we can see here, there are some beast prints, which are all over the place. This means... okay. You are being attacked, you can't make out who is attacking you in time, you have to defend yourself. And we can see it's a bit of a different setting this time, also because it's night, that is reflected here. And it looks like I will be fighting in an oasis. Unfortunately, because I used Hamden's net in the last fight, he doesn't have it. What I will do as time passes is probably add a few mods to the game just to enhance some stuff. I don't plan to get any insanely game-changing mods because I want to enjoy this as vanilla as possible, but definitely get some quality of life ones. Oh, let me bring this down. I will use a net just in case. Nice. So, oh, as we can see, this hyena broke from the net. That is something the netted character can try to do, and if you do that, obviously you won't be dealing with that status effect anymore. But we did a lot of damage. We also gave them a ripped ear. That we missed, and we missed. Yeah, so because this hyena was fleeing, they tried to run away. But each character in 6 tiles around them, so here, 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 in the case of Hamden, is what is considered the character's zone of control. So if I wanted to, let's say, move to any other tile, be it here, 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 or here, this hyena would have an attack of opportunity on me. If they miss, then I hop out, but if I get a hit, then I stand still, I'll take the fatigue penalty, I'll lose the action points, and I'll also take some damage. So you need to plan around that. There is a perk that will allow you to not have to worry about that, and some other workarounds, but as we come across them, I will go more in depth on them. So since I don't really care to move around, I'm going to try using Gash on this guy, which has a special effect, which is that it has a 33% lower threshold to inflict injuries, so assuming you hit, it's a lot easier to land something like a pierced cheek or bruised leg muscle or whatever. Ah, okay. So I was able to stun it with knockout, and now you can see that it is stunned for 1 turn. There we go. It is now fleeing, and it is now dead. Yeah, look at this. The oasis looks beautiful. Cool, and we got acidic saliva. The saliva of the wild desert hyenas is priced by southern alchemists for its unique properties. It is worth 500 and can be used to craft items. Cool. Now, just because something says it's worth... oh, hang on. After the battle, you're not entirely sure, as you're not particularly knowledgeable about the creature, but you find yourself staring at the hyenas with contempt. They bear the marks of trash diggers, Cretans which hunt the weak despite having the strength and numbers to fight for their own food. It is only when meeting you, seeing their own finality on the line, did they decide to fulfill their beastly destiny. You cut their heads off and ready a return to Ubaid al-Said, the master astrologer. Let's be done with this. We have crowns to collect. And just like that, on your return, Ubaid al-Said, the master astrologer, stands at his door. Though you're kept at a good distance, his servants instead are the ones to greet you. They take the hyena scalps and loft them into silvered wheelbarrows. The servants scamper the goods back across the yard and disappear just as soon as they came. The vizier whistles like a hawk bearing down on its prey. You twitch for a second, but all that comes in But all that comes is another pair of servants carrying a trove of crowns. One looks at the sky as he recites, "Crownling, this job. You have done well. See to the chest, and you will find your purse swell." The servant clicks his tongue and looks down, grinning wildly. You gain 370 crowns, a successful hunt. Cool. So I'm not going to read these each and every time, because as long as you do the same mission, you're most likely going to get the same text. So I'll read for the first time for each one, and then if I come across the same one, then I'll just quickly skip over it. Alright. This city-state has been very profitable as of late, so I think I want to hang out here for a bit more. The town's merchant square is rife with business, and apparently you are wanted to be a part of it. A few of the vizier's finest peddlers are wanting to take a caravan of goods to Azim Shad, a good day of travel, one explains tersely. If the gilder might look the other way, I pray the so-called soldiers of this town find the world of shade. You, Crownling, I suspect you'd be willing to help us where others are not. For coin, of course? How many crowns are we talking about? He nods. You look able, so I'm willing to pay you quite a bit. You'll be paid 2 crowns per head you arrive with, for up to 30 heads, and another 120 when the job is done. So this is a bit of a different contract than the ones that the last two that we took, as we get paid per head and a flat amount when we return. So we can just get paid more for this, which will modify both. We need to be paid more per head, payment in advance, or we just need more payment once the work is done. I'm just going to accept it as is again. Escort caravan to Azim Sham, about a day to the west. Provisions are provided for your men. Sounds easy enough. Let's do it. Okay, so this is going to be our first ambition. I will explain these in depth a bit more once I finish reading all this. During camp, you feel good today, ready to lead the Battle Brothers through any challenge to come. You gather your men around, kicking him down the line to his feet and telling Abani the Viper to finish scraping away the hairs on his neck later. When their muttering has subsided, you start to address them. What do you tell the men of the company will do? We need allies. Forging a bond of friendship and trust with one of the towns will get better prices, more volunteers, and more steady work. Let's set out into the wilderness, discover the unknown, and plunder it, be it a wizard's tomb, goblin camp, or aught else we may find. Let us seek fame and fortune before crowns, then chant our names. Before crowds. We'll draw blood in the arenas of the south. So each ambition, once completed, will grant you a potential reward as well as a nice boost to not only your renown but the morale of your men. Each one obviously requires something else, so your task, so basically what I need to do is reach friendly with a town, city, state, whatever I want it to be. Our reward will be better prices and more men to hire, and my renown will increase. If I chose this, all I need to do is discover a ruin, camp, or hostile location and destroy it. So I just need to find something similar to the ruins of the Empire that I did in the first contract that I chose, or I can enter and win 5 fights in the arena, which is fitting for my company, but I think I will look for a hostile camp and try to destroy it. So the 1st Regiment of Kabara, they got many conscripts and a few gunners. So as we get later on into the game, higher days as you can see right here, and the company itself becomes stronger, these armies will scale appropriately. So yeah, so right up here you can see here's our ambition. I can cancel it if I want to, but that runs the risk of the men losing confidence in my leadership, which is not a good thing. And yeah, so I'm just going to keep it. This one's really easy to get, so hopefully I will get it soon. Gonna unpause. We can see some wandering nomads here. This didn't want to attack while the other caravan was there. And the reason why that is as long as you are in combat with a friendly party next to them, they will join sides and fight alongside you. And as you can see, this is different terrain that I was speaking of, terrain levels. Now, because I'm escorting a caravan, I get some extra help in this fight, those being the members of the caravan guard. So, let me bring this down. Nice. Got a stun on him. Bonnie is getting quite the bullied. Quite the bullied, yes, that makes perfect sense. Getting quite bullied down here. Another thing that I didn't explain before is how, because it wasn't really relevant, is, or something I just didn't really bother to explain, is if you can see under their name, there's my chance to hit, and then there's also a plus and a minus. Since this I'm using slash, it gets a plus 10 chance to hit already, but the fact that he's above me lowers my chance to hit, and the fact that he's armed with a shield. But if I look over here, while he does have the height advantage on me, he is surrounded, which greatly increases the chance to hit. So it's probably best if I focus on this guy because I have 26% chance more to hit him. Now I need to be very careful and make sure that I don't use a Bonnie this early on. Oh no. This is not looking good for him. But now that he's fleeing, it's looking a lot better. Ah, that is the knockback skill, courtesy of the shield. Tried to run away, but it didn't work out too well for him. Ah. But now Bonnie himself is fleeing. And let's see. Okay, he did not die, but there's a... Okay. So I was very lucky, and he lived with 2 health. And if he did not get that morale check and end up fleeing, I think we would have already lost one of our 3 brothers. And yeah, he, as you can see, quickly rallied because he was lucky enough and he just decided to run away. Usually the enemy will tend to run away if they recognize that the odds are stacked against them. Yeah, 179. So he has light wounds that will need 4 days to heal, unfortunately. But let's see, we got some decent stuff. We got some more dried lamb, some money, tool supply, we got a bludgeon, a cleaver, and a nomad's leather hat. Now, most of the gear that I got is pretty worthless because these guys already decked out some pretty decent gear. As you can see, 225 is really, really nice. 100. 155, yeah. So, these guys are geared, and if we look at this heavy southern mace, it is a lot better than just a regular nomad mace in all aspects. So we killed 2, so we're gonna get an extra 4 crowns here. And this is the city-state of Azim Shab. At Azim's shop, the wagon train drives into Azim's shop, each car bumbling and tumbling their tall wheels over mounds of dried mud. The caravan hands work to unload the cargo, a few of them fighting off a beggar or two. The leader of the train hands you a satchel, and that's about all he does. He's too busy with his work to say much more to you. The silence is appreciated. You gain 124 crowns. Azim's shop is now well supplied. So, well supplied, it doesn't explain what it does, and there will be a mod that will show what these tooltips is, but this is one of many settlement situations that could happen. So this, I think, makes buying prices 5% better. So stuff is 5% more expensive to buy, but I can sell things for 5% more. And it also replenishes their goods, and in the case of a weaponsmith, oh, an armor, there's an armor here too. Maybe an alchemist, I'm not sure. It gives the chance to spawn famed items here, which are the strongest variants of weapons. So if you can see, this Grisly Skewer is a famed spear, and if we compare to this, it has higher durability, better damage, more effectiveness, and good fatigue. You can also just see some more variety of weapons. We got some throwing weapons here. A nomad sling as a ranged weapons. Some nice long spears. A long sword. Yeah. Obviously, I'm way too poor to afford any of this right now, but we'll get there eventually. Let's check out the armor. Yeah, we got two famed pieces of armor in here, which is really nice, but they're super expensive. Cost almost 22,000 to buy this. 24,000 for this, yeah. But we can also see some just normal mail armor and then some more southern armor. We got some shields, some paint to change the color of helmets, and some armor attachments, which will make things stronger at the cost of fatigue. Obviously, none of this stuff is really worth it for me right now, so let's just ignore it. Let's see if the alchemist gets anything special. Doesn't look like it. So, because we're in a new town, there is a wide selection of brothers to hire of all different backgrounds, but with this contract completed and the video already going over 1 hour, I think I will wrap up the first episode of Battle Brothers. So let me save. Yeah, as you can see, I have my 2 other saves here. I'm just gonna call you desktop 3. I'm gonna resume. Okay. So, thank you so much everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. I've been waiting eagerly for this DLC from the moment that it was announced, so I'm super excited to be able to finally play it and record it and show it off to the world. I really want as many people to experience this game as possible, because honestly, it's a fantastic game in every aspect. And just like I said with Horn of the Abyss and Heroes, it's a DLC that makes the game even better than it was before. So with all that being said, I hope to see you all in the next episode of Battle Brothers. Just because I'm uploading this, like I said in my previous Caesar video, Caesar isn't done. It's just not going to be maybe uploaded as frequently, as I'm planning to alternate between this and Caesar. Well, we'll see how things go, obviously. Alright, once again, thank you so much for watching, and have a great morning, afternoon, night, wherever you're watching from, and I hope to see you all in the next episode of Battle Brothers, and if not here, in the next episode of Caesar. Till then, take care. Goodbye.